I am your host, Naira, and I welcome you to Dark Fiction. Here, I bring you thrilling fictional stories that will shake you to your core. So, let's move toward today's story. A father walks into a grocery store one morning with his 10-year-old son. But the moment they step inside, the sirens go off. An unknown creature has surrounded the world, and the doors of the store shut tight. This story has even been adapted into a film. So let's begin today's podcast. Charles Howard walked into the store with his 10-year-old son, Lucas, just like any other ordinary day. Their plan was simple: pick up a few groceries and head home. But as soon as they stepped inside, piercing sirens began to wail across the city. From afar, military vehicles sped by, and the shrill cries of ambulances echoed through the streets, sending waves of fear through anyone who could hear them. Charles' heart raced, but he tried to stay calm for Lucas, leading him further into the store. Suddenly, a thick fog rolled in outside. It was so dense that visibility dropped to almost nothing. People panicked and tried to run, but anyone who stepped into the mist never returned. Moments later, a bloodied, badly wounded man staggered back into the store. His lips trembled, his eyes wide with terror, as he whispered a horrifying truth: within that fog lurked creatures, unimaginable in their cruelty, that hunted and killed humans in ways too horrifying to describe. The store doors were locked from the inside. Trapped in fear and uncertainty, the people inside decided it was safer to stay put, at least for the moment. But as time passed, tension and hunger took their toll. Arguments erupted. Small disagreements spiraled into chaos. The store, once a sanctuary, became a pressure cooker of dread and despair. Charles realized that staying put was no longer an option. He decided to leave with Lucas and a few trusted companions, a young woman and an elderly couple. Their plan was to reach a nearby jeep, drive through the fog, and escape to safety. The journey to the jeep was anything but easy. The fog was so thick that each step was terrifying, each shadow a potential threat. Along the way, several of their companions fell victim to the creatures, meeting horrific ends. In the end, only Charles, Lucas, the young woman, and the elderly couple made it to the jeep alive. Once inside, their progress was painfully slow. The dense fog reduced visibility to almost nothing, and the landscape was littered with bodies, each one a chilling reminder of the danger surrounding them. They hoped to reach the edge of the fog before the jeep ran out of fuel, but hours passed, and the fog showed no sign of thinning. Eventually, the jeep sputtered to a stop. Outside, the monstrous creatures waited. Inside, they had no food, no way to survive for long. Charles looked at his son and understood the grim reality: if they stayed, death was inevitable. In his hand was a revolver, only 4 bullets. Charles made a grim, excruciating decision. "It's better to end it ourselves than to be torn apart by them," he said, his voice trembling. "But there are 5 of us and only 4 bullets. Someone must sacrifice themselves." After a tense moment of silence, they all agreed Charles would be the one. He gave Lucas and the others a relatively merciful death, a painful act of love and protection. Then he stepped out, calling to the creatures, drawing them toward himself, heart pounding, sweat pouring from his hands. But just as the creatures closed in, the fog began to clear. Charles' eyes widened as he saw rows of American military vehicles approaching. Soldiers came forward, telling him that the situation was under control, and that he and the survivors were now completely safe. Trucks carried rescued civilians to secure zones. Charles stared at them in shock, unable to comprehend what he was hearing. The horrifying truth still clung to him, the memory of his own actions, of taking his son's life along with the others. He began to scream in a delirious state: "Just minutes ago, I killed them all." And in that moment, the only word left in his life, haunting, bitter, and final, was, "if only."